the Italian Football Podcast.
Next question, Daniel Ljungström says, "Hi fellas, should Juventus drop the Koopmeiners interest and focus on signing both Galeno and Nico Gonzalez instead? I get that Koopmeiners has been our main target this summer. We look so thin on the wings. As of now, we only have Yildiz and Vea as options. Maybe it would be better to take an L on Koop and use Yildiz as a trequartista and get wingers capable of scoring goals and provide assists." What do you make of that?
Well, I think my understanding now, obviously recording this on Monday, so this could change by Wednesday because transfer market, things change so quickly, is that it's kind of a moot point. So I think Juventus will close a deal for Koopmeiners. But there's no doubt about it. I watched the Atletico Madrid friendly. Juventus have no goals in their team. Their attack is there's just no firepower in attack. Even though I think that the midfield is already starting to shape up well, the patterns of play, the control of the game, Motta's already, you can see that already. The problem is once they get into the final third, there's just nothing. There's nothing on the right wing at all. I mean, Timothy Weah is not a Juventus level player. He's going into the season as the first choice right winger, as the only right winger actually. And then on the left, you've got Yildiz, who's obviously a big talent, but he's 19 years old and he's not ready to be a consistent performer week after week. And then Vlahovic is a complete disaster in pre-season, horrendous. And Motta has one hell of a job trying to get a top player or get any kind of quality out of him at the moment because he's just been awful in pre-season. And so they need at least two wingers. It looks like Nico Gonzalez, they're getting closing in on him. And they definitely need at least another wide attacker, and then there's Koopmeiners, which I think will be done. That the question is going to be money. You know, can they get the money required to get all these players in? And then of course there's the centre back because they missed out on Todibo, which was a big failure from Giuntoli. Let's be honest. He's flopped there at the centre-back. They've missed out on their first target, Calafiori. They missed out on their second target, Todibo. And there's now no centre-backs available on the market that are of the level needed. So, you know, and the defence is making mistakes. Because it's not really of the level required. So I think that Juventus will go into the season with a strong midfield, but they're missing a defender, a centre-back at least. And there's just no firepower in attack. So there's a lot, as I said on the preview show last week, Juntoli has a lot of work to do to get this Juventus team into shape. And I think that the decision to sell Sule might come back to bite because you only sell Sule if you can guarantee bringing in Koopmeiners and that centre back, and also bring in wingers that are good enough to replace him. You sell him for such a low price, and then you don't bring in those players anyway. Then why were you selling him? So I still think the Sule could potentially be a mistake, but we have to see the maths and how Juntoli manages to work things around for the last just over 2 weeks of the window.
Bremer, Gatti, Rugani, Jallo. That's not good enough defensively as central defenders.
No, Jallo's going to be sold. He's on the market.
But they need to buy someone.
Yeah. There's no top options available now. Now they've missed out on Todibo. That's it. There's no one else around. There's no one available now. They're going to have to go for second level players. Listen. In a way, I think that Juventus centre midfield is going to be very strong, and that the way that Motta's teams play, that will limit that will mask the defence a little bit to an extent. I think it will. But at the end of the day, you've got to also have the attackers that can score the goals. Because at the moment, Juventus have no goals in them. They haven't scored a goal from open play in pre-season. They've scored a penalty, and that's it. There's no goals in this team at all. That is the biggest concern, because there's no good having a great midfield and being able to control the game, dominate the ball. You've got nothing in attack because you haven't got the players. Then you've got a big problem. So for me, that's an even bigger issue than the defence right now, because I think the midfield will be so strong that it will, even a bit like Spain. Like, I don't think Spain had a very good defence at all at the Euros on paper. personally, but their midfield was so strong. And then obviously they had the firepower and attack, which Juventus won't have. But their midfield was so strong that the defence rarely got tested, really. So a lot of work to do for Giuntoli, a lot of work. But I would sign Koopmeiners, yeah. I would sign Koopmeiners because then you've completed that midfield and then you can build from that going forward.
Mm. No, you can. If they get Nico Gonzalez with Yildiz there, and if they get Koopmeiners, then and I think Di Gregorio is a decent goalkeeper. No, I think then they've kind of fixed the midfield and wing position. The central defense is the problem, and Vlahovic, who's looking like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this discussion before. If we were all fooled by Vlahovic, maybe he wasn't as good as we thought he was. But then again, I'm not entirely sure of that either, because I do think there's a player there. But I think it's a mental block with him. What happens with Chiesa? Now, I there's still 3 weeks left, but 2-3 weeks left. But no, it's not been a dream mercato for Giuntoli at all so far. Losing out on Calafiori, losing out on Todibo, it's not been good. I understand the criticisms to him. Maybe he underestimated the sheer amount of work that needed to be done.
And there was so much work to do that it's unrealistic to think you can solve that in one window, which is maybe he tried to do too much one window, I think. Which is why I wouldn't have sold a Sulo, which is why I wouldn't have signed Di Gregorio. I said that right from the start. You're paying 20 million for Di Gregorio, using up a budget which wasn't a priority position. You needed that cash for other positions. Keep Szczesny for one more year till the end of his contract. Sign Di Gregorio next summer. Or if you want to sign Di Gregorio, book it now. Make the signing now, but the money doesn't come out. Let him stay at Monza for another season. Let the money come out in a year's time. Don't spend that money now. That money, 20 million, and they haven't even sold Szczesny either. They're struggling to find. They can't even find a buyer for him because his wages are too high. Szczesny's good enough with his feet that he could have done a job for a year. And then that for me, that was, I said that right from day one. For me, that was a they should have waited. They should have waited a year for that. That wasn't a priority position. The attack and the defense and the midfield, but they've solved the midfield. That money should have been used to strengthen other areas of the pitch. But we'll see. We'll see what you can do. But it's going to be difficult now. Not enough time left.